Hi, Miss Allen. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
We're great. Thank you so much for taking the interview. We're just going to ask you a couple of questions about some of the stuff that we've discussed over email already, just to get a little bit more information about Southwind and how they're helping forward sustainability. So, to start off, what's the innovation that your business is successfully using?
As far as sustainability, first of all, uh, the vines were planted on fallow horse pasture that have been used for years, so it's very fertile soil naturally without having to be fertilized. Second of all, we have a very small water usage footprint because we only irrigate for the first 2 years, and ever thereafter, we never use any type of irrigation for the vines. And then instead of using lots of pesticides, we use bait lures and traps for the beetles, for example. And to drive off the larger predators, instead of using the deterrents, smell deterrents, and chemical deterrents for birds and larger wildlife, I have dogs confined inside the vineyard that just chase them away. Um, so very little water, very little pesticide, and then instead of using herbicide to control the weeds, we do that manually through a lot of hard work.
Great, thanks.
Okay, so one of the UN Sustainable Development Goals that we thought your organization focuses on was good health and well-being. So, how do you think it's linked to that goal, and how do you think that you like further this goal through your organization?
Well, definitely, I'm not putting the pesticides, I'm not spraying pesticides into the air that could be affecting the neighbors, and I'm not putting pesticides into the groundwater or herbicides. I'm not certified organic because there's a lot you have to do that, but I work towards that as a goal. I have healthier groundwater and less pesticide and herbicide in the air and in the soil.
Okay.
How would you say that your organization is making an impact either on the rest of society or just with the employees inside your company?
Well, the way that we manufacture the wine also, there are no chemicals used inside the winery and no insecticide. Basically, for manufacturing, all we use is good old hot water, maybe a little ammonia for cleaning. That's good for the employees and the environment and the people that consume the wine. And it's a very natural, healthy product. The red wine is full of antioxidants that fight cancer, and there are very low preservatives in the wine, so it's good health food for the people and a good healthy working environment for my employees.
Great, thanks. So, could you tell us a little bit about the history and the drivers, really the ultimate purpose toward using the techniques you're using in order to forward sustainability?
Well, I have a 97-acre farmland reserved property, and my goal is to use the property as best I can to respect the property, use it and make it more beautiful and more fertile for future generations, and make a really good, almost organic product that's healthy for the consumer. That's my goal.
Yeah, I'll switch this question. So, we wanted to ask you like what the primary use of your innovation was and how it's a benefit to society, but you've already like talked upon that. So, how do you think like you could expand your idea to other businesses, or what could other businesses, even in your area or other vineyards, do that's similar to you that will help the society or the state?
Well, I allow the researchers at Rutgers Agricultural Department to come and do testing water testing and weather testing, and also testing of the bait traps and lures. So they send someone over from Rutgers Ag about once a month to check the traps and lures, and their ultimate goal of being able to do studies that can make it more practical for other vineyards and wineries in New Jersey.
Cool.
How do managers versus employees in the business describe the innovation and its use in meeting one or more of the UN Sustainable Development Goals?
Well, the jobs are kind of separate. The people that work in the vineyards, they're glad that we're using these sustainable techniques because there's less chemical exposure to the employees in the vineyard. So they're really happy about those practices, and if there are ever any chemicals that have to be used, I administer them myself to protect anyone else. And then the winemaking is basically me, sometimes with an assistant, and all they're exposed to basically is hot water. So they're happy to have a place to work that has, good, clean, well-circulated air and no exposure to chemicals inside the winery. The other employees are basically paperwork, phone call types of employees, so it's pretty much similar to any other kind of job like that.
For sure. Great. Thank you so much. Do we want to ask her a little about the inspiration
Sure,
question?
yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind Southwind itself a little bit, and then also the use of the traps? Like, what inspired you to get into that?
Well, the inspiration for having the winery was basically to diversify the use of this farm. It's a big farm, and it is farmland preserved, so active farming has to occur on the entire property. So it was a horse farm before, and I decided to diversify because the terroir, which means soil and weather in this area, is really excellent for growing the good types of red grapes that are healthy for everybody. So I experimented to see how well they would grow, and they grew well, and it kind of evolved from there. So that was my inspiration for having this type of business. What was the second part of that question?
What inspired you to get into the using traps instead of pesticides? Like, where did you even come across that idea?
What about, the chemical lures for the beetles? I was getting a lot of leaf loss because of the beetles in one part of my vineyard. The leaves just looked like lace because they had eaten so much. And a friend of mine, her dad is a chemist, and he came over one time, and we were drinking wine, and we started walking in the vines, and he described to me how he's doing research on these chemical lures and beetle traps. So he told me where to get them and suggested that it would be a really great alternative because pesticides don't work well against beetles. They're kind of armored, So it was at this chemist's suggestion that I went out and purchased the beetle traps, and they work very well during the beetle season. And I don't lose nearly as much of the leaf matter that I was before I used the traps, and I don't have to use super strong anti-beetle pesticides because it really has to be strong chemicals to get rid of that particular type of bug.
Thanks.
Thank you. Would you say that there are any issues in your organization, such as, say, poor management or poor relationships or rigidity?
Not as far as sustainability is concerned. I just have your, typical problems, drama with personal drama in the office and that kind of thing. But it's absolutely harmonious as far as the grape growing and the wine making. That's everybody's pretty happy and safe.
So, could you elaborate more on like the interpersonal relationships between the employees and maybe your connection with them, and maybe something special you've seen, like?
Well, actually, yeah, I think it's a really great place to work. I'm a pretty mild-mannered boss, and the season that the grapes grow is really nice outside, and people really take to working outside. And when you see the grapes go dormant during the winter, so they look dead like sticks. And when they come out growing in the spring, it's so beautiful. It's just a wonderful place to find yourself spending the day. And it's very seasonal outside work, so everybody's very, very happy outside. And selling wine inside the winery is a joyous thing as well, because everybody that comes in, they're coming in to drink wine and have fun. And you just know that the product that you're sharing with them is basically a health food. So it's a win-win and everybody's happy.
Great, thank you. Is that what we need?
That's pretty much all we had. for
Great,
you.
that's all we need. Thank you so much for taking this time out of your day, and we hope you have a really great rest of your day. Thank you so much again for
You're
talking
welcome,
to us.
and I invite your team to come on a field trip and drink some wine.
Great, we'll take you up on that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Have a good day.
You too.